Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the first of our afternoon stories for children and adults as well, because everyone likes a good story. And I'm here telling the story outside today because it's such a nice day. And I'm here with Elaine, who's our children's and families worker, who also happens to be my wife. And we're going to be telling the story to you, and it's called The Storm That Stopped. And so I'm going to ask you, first of all, are you all sitting comfortably? Then if you are, then I'll begin. I'll try and show you as many of the pictures that I can as I go along. So here we are, the storm that stopped. One day, long ago, Jesus was teaching people by the sea. And soon, some more people arrived. And then others, and then more, and more, until there were people everywhere. And there's Jesus teaching as well, look, and there's the people absolutely everywhere. We can't hear back here. Give me some room. Be quiet. I can't see. It's all those people shouting in the crowd, look. The crowds were just too big. No one could see Jesus, and no one could hear Jesus. So Jesus asked his friends, the disciples, to push their boat out onto the water. And he sat in the boat, and the huge crowd spread out along the beach. Now they could all see and hear Jesus as he told them all about God. There he is, just there. When he finished teaching the people, Jesus said to his friends, "Let's go over to the other side of the sea." Jesus had finished teaching the crowd, and now he had something to teach his friends. But they didn't know it yet. So they all jumped into the boat with him and set sail across the sea. There we are, there's the pictures. Jesus was so tired, he'd been teaching the people all day. So he lay down in the back of the boat and fell fast asleep. It was a quiet evening, and the water gently lapped against the boat, and the sun slowly set in the sky. Jesus was sleeping. The disciples were talking very quietly. But then, all of a sudden, so there's the pictures of Jesus in the boat. But then all of a sudden, they were in the middle of the biggest, loudest, scariest, most ginormous storm you could ever imagine. Oh look, there's them, they're crying out for help in the middle of the boat there, look. The wind blew hard, the waves grew huge, and the water poured into the boat. But Jesus was fast asleep. The wind blew harder, the waves grew huger, and the water filled into the boat. But Jesus was still asleep. Look, there you can see he's still asleep. Wake up! Wake up! We're drowning! Don't you care? What a silly thing to say to Jesus. Of course he cared. He loved his friends so much that one day he was going to die for them. Jesus stood up in the boat, but the wind was still blowing. The waves were bigger than ever, and the water was pouring into the boat. The water was pouring into the boat quicker than the disciples could get it out again. Get it out again. The boat was sinking. There we are. There's the picture of various measures of water. Then Jesus did something amazing. He didn't help his friends pour water out of the boat. He didn't help them to row back to the land. Jesus simply spoke. But he didn't speak to the disciples. He spoke to the storm, to the wind, and to the waves. And you see, there he is, speaking to the wind and the waves, and the disciples all very scared. There he is, Jesus shouting, "Quiet! Be still!" Speaking to the wind and the waves. Just 3 little words, and the storm stopped. And right away, at that very moment, the sea was quiet, still, and calm. I'm quite glad about that as well. Here we are, the sea being nice and calm. There we can see there. Then Jesus looked at his friends. "Why are you so afraid? Do you still not trust me?" But they were terrified, and they asked each other, "Who is this? Even the waves and the wind do what he says." And there they are, asking that question. This is what Jesus wanted to teach them. He wanted them to know who he really is. The disciples already knew a lot about God from his special book. They knew that God made everything. He made the world, he made the sun, and the moon and the stars. And he made the sea and the wind as well. They knew that only God can tell the sea what to do. That only God can tell the wind when to blow or the waves when to crash. Only God can do these things. But the disciples had just seen Jesus do the same things that God can do. So what is the answer to their question? Who is Jesus? Jesus is God. And that's the end of our story, and I hope you've really enjoyed the story this afternoon. And we're going to be back hopefully on Friday, but look out for the post on Facebook as we tell another story about something different. This one's been about the wind and the waves. So wind and yes, but join us next time for another interactive story as part of our children's talks and stories in the afternoon. Take care and God bless, and I need to go and get changed. Bye bye.